So last time we discussed the northern colonies, tonight we're going to discuss the southern colonies. So please give it up for Mr. Justin Scott and Mr. Caleb Brown. So I hear you guys are experts on the southern colonies.
Yes, sir.
And do you have any facts about those?
First of all, there's 5 original colonies: the Carolinas, North and South, Maryland, Virginia, and Georgia. Georgia's founder was a man named James Oglethorpe. Maryland's founder was a man named George Calvert. Virginia Company was Virginia's founder, and obviously that's how Virginia got its name. The Carolinas founder was a person named Anthony Ashley Cooper. The North and South Carolinas were totally different. North Carolina had little harbors and no rich soil at all. South Carolina had excellent farming, rich soil, plenty of harbors, so it was all good there. Virginia and Maryland's major cash crop was tobacco. Tobacco was huge back then. North Carolina's main cash crop was pine forests for pines and all that stuff. South Carolina's main cash crop was South Carolina and Georgia's main cash crop was indigo dye and rice. There was over NC. There was 30 Native American tribes that were scattered all over the place, and starting with tribes, there was many African slaves from Africa there that were treated badly, and I'll let Justin take it there.
So obviously South Carolina had rich soil for farming. Obviously there was probably slaves. Can you give us a little more information about that?
Yes, slavery was just starting to grow in these colonies, and the slaves would be taken from their homes in Africa and brought to slave ships by the slave catchers, and the slave catchers would be paid in either money or rum, which is straight up alcohol, and they'd be on these ships for months in these horrible conditions where people are dying all around them, and they would get little food and lots of exercise to be ready to farm. They'd be brought to the colonies and then sold for the highest amount of money farmers would be willing to pay, and they would be separated from their families, like mothers and little kids. They'd be separated, and then a lot of slaves would escape because they'd be beaten if they did something wrong. So a lot of them would escape.
All right. Well, apparently Mr. Brown has told me before the show started
Yes.
that he has some personal business to do. So we thank him for coming, and we hope to see you again. But fortunately, Mr. Scott has brought another special speaker along, Mr. Nat Turner. Please give it up for Nat Turner. I hear you were around slaves at this time, so what was it like being taken away from your home?
It was. Let me ask you guys a question. How would you feel if you guys got taken away from your family and wasn't able to see them for a long, long time?
It'd be terrible.
Yeah, great.
And one more question, what were the conditions on the ships like?
It was terrible. All right, so me and my friend George were sitting there eating, and food was terrible. You got what you got and you ate it, right? And so we were sitting there eating. I don't even know what it was. But I look over at my friend Margaret. She's not breathing. She's dead. And she was just laying there. And I was like, why would you leave a person sitting there just dead? It's terrible. And there was rats all over the place. And we didn't have a bathroom, so you know how that was. And yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot of the reasons why me and Caleb would like to go back to these southern counties to make slavery more fair and give these slaves more rights. Hopefully, keep them with their families, because normally anybody would want to end slavery because it's terrible. But if we ended it, the southern economy, which is based on farming, would be destroyed, and it would affect all the other colonies. So we'd like to go back to make slavery more fair.
Well, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for bringing a guest speaker. And that is all the time we have tonight on the Late Night Another Show. We hope to see you again. Thank you.